to Sunday Conversations. This is episode 5 with Alex Allen. Today I'm chatting with Alex, who sings in Utmost. He plays drums in Only Sibling and helps run Good Street District, which is a new skate crew in New York. So I'm excited to chat with you because you're one of the most creative people I know. We share a lot of interests, like skating, design, straight edge, veganism, all the fun stuff. So yeah, I'm very excited to chat with Alex today. But yeah, can you give a quick backstory of who you are and how you got into hardcore?
Yes. I mean, first off, thanks for having me on here. But as far as who I am, I'm Alex Allen. I'm from Staten Island, New York. I pretend that I'm from like New York City, like Manhattan, but unfortunately from Staten Island, New York. Not much is going on here. Getting into, I guess, hardcore. I just got into it just from like skating and like, met people at shows and like, that's, I don't know. That's about it.
It kind of just happens.
Essentially. Yeah. I went to, like a Catholic high school, Catholic school my whole life. And like, I guess, I didn't like it. And I always felt like I didn't fit in, and like hardcore always made me feel like I fit in somewhere. And I mean, it just felt like it's like something that I've looked for my whole life, and and very rewarding, I guess.
How did was there like a specific friend or like a family member, older, sibling or something that introduced you to maybe a first punk or hardcore band?
Well, so I guess the first, so I guess how when I was younger, I was like, I knew I like really was into music. And I think when I was in like this summer camp, it's a funny story. When I was in the summer camp, this like, I guess it was like a tour. I don't know what it was, but it was just like bands that like toured summer camps. And they weren't like heavy or anything. They were just like more rocky. And like I saw them, they like set up in our gym, and like they played, and I was like super young at the time. And like I was like, what is this? Like what is like this rock music? And then just them playing. It was essentially my first live show. Yeah. And like I was like blown away, and I was just like, like a little child just being like, well, I kind of want to try to do this. And then like, that's I said, like things started opening up with music, and like I started listening to like, not necessarily hardcore, but just like, more rock bands, more like, emo bands. I wouldn't say emo bands, but like,
was it just like stuff on the radio or like MTV or something?
I mean, I wasn't like, I've always listened to like all types of music. And so like, but I just like that, I guess that's the door, like the door opened for like so much more. And then like, I just started listening to like heavier bands, more rock bands and stuff like that. And then when I got into hardcore, essentially, so there's like one kid on the island that was like always in like hardcore bands, and like he played in Vice, a very not super old, but like kind of old. He was like the same age as me, and like I've always seen him around. I've always seen like his band, and like they were touring like nonstop. This was like in high school, I guess. And like they like toured from like the East Coast to the West Coast, and it was all like DIY. And like we had beef when I was younger, but it was stupid. but I think it was just because I was like jealous of him, just because of like, the success that he's always had, and like, the DIY, and like, we're cool now. We're like really close now, but yeah, I mean, like he introduced me, like we've like hung out, we've skated, we've went to shows. He like introduced me into like a lot of hardcore bands. And yeah, I mean, obviously I like had like other friends that like listened to other bands, and like, I would make friends just from like going to shows and like having similar interest in bands, and like, there's always. But,
nice. Yeah, that's super interesting. Especially that first, I guess, show at your school.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I remember the camp counselors were like they were like, this is pretty whack, but I guess they just got the kids dancing, and then I was the only one that was like took more interest into it, and I was like, whoa, I want to try, I want to do this.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think more events like that should probably happen in like elementary school, especially because I know a lot of times like music is, not like a priority in schools.
Yeah. I mean, like in my, like, I was like, again, I was in like Catholic high school, and then Catholic schools my whole life. And like, they're like, when they, anything with music, there was just like, classes, like art class and a music class. And it was just like history. And it was just like, it was like I think that's what they thought we wanted. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
And, obviously art history is like important, but like, and like, I guess music history is important, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's always, I know. I definitely know what you mean. I've taken both types of classes, and they're okay, but they kind of feel just like another history class or something.
Yeah.
Something that you can grasp onto.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely know what you mean. But yeah, I don't usually ask like geographic questions like this, or like bigger backstories, but you mentioned New York, and you're one of the few people that I know that are from New York. So I was curious, like, how is it like growing up there, and how would you describe your local scene, especially coming from Staten Island, like you mentioned?
So, New York is obviously like a melting pot of like tons of people, tons of like people from like all over the world. So like you meet tons and tons of like new people. And that's like, I mean, like Manhattan, like Brooklyn, Staten Island kind of sucks. That's why it's the forgotten borough.
Yeah.
So like when I grew up, I've always like tried to be in the city, in Manhattan and like Brooklyn and like all that stuff. And like, I guess the scene in Staten Island, it was like a while ago, it was kind of like popping, I guess. But like recently it's kind of like died down, and like, I guess everybody's growing up and they're like not playing music anymore, or maybe they are, and it's just more like cover bands and stuff. So like at the moment, like the music scene sucks, but like back then there's a lot of bands playing, and lots of, there was like even, so I guess the whole reason why there's less shows is because like, our venues are like non-existent anymore. Like I'm trying to like book shows with both bands just for like a home show. And it's like so hard just to find like a venue that's worth the money. So like a lot of times we try to figure out house shows, but I mean, Staten Island is very interesting, I guess. A lot of times I don't even tell people when they ask me where I'm from. I just say, I'm from New York City.
Yeah, like how I guess from a geographical sense that I am not too familiar with, but like how far is Staten Island from like Manhattan or like the city, like you mentioned?
So Staten Island is like pretty not it's like the furthest away from the city. Like you have the city, you have Brooklyn, and then you have Staten Island. And Staten Island is essentially New Jersey.
Okay, got it.
It's very suburban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like 30 minutes or like an hour or so from the city?
Yeah, I mean, like with traffic, it's usually like an hour.
Okay.
And like, I always go to the city and I drive back, and with traffic, it's usually like an hour.
Okay. So it's not like too bad, but it's still like a little while away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. New York City traffic is like horrible.
Yeah.
Like I see like car accidents happen so many times, and like it's crazy. People here don't know how to drive, and I think that's like every New Yorker knows that, I guess.
So like growing up there, I guess how were you going to shows usually? Did any shows happen in Staten Island usually, or like where like the touring bands always just going to, into the city?
A lot of like there were like a few smaller touring bands that would come through Staten Island just because we have like this one kid, Andrew Vacanti. He like hosts a lot of shows, and like he brought like a lot of like hardcore bands in, and like since he was in Vice and he's now in Combust.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was like bringing in a lot of like different touring bands, and like a lot of like like a lot of hardcore touring bands would go to Brooklyn and like Manhattan, and like rarely come to Staten Island, but like he would bring more hardcore bands into Staten Island. And I think, when that happened, I would try to go, even though it didn't happen a lot. So I would go to like other shows, not necessarily like hardcore shows, just like mixed genre bills.
Yeah.
But yeah. Staten Island, essentially Staten Island sucks. And like, I guess everybody kind of knows it. And since they forget about it, they just, there's Brooklyn and Manhattan. Like why come to Staten Island to play a show when there's Brooklyn and again, Manhattan?
Are there any other bands from Staten Island that people might know or like should check out?
Yeah, I mean, like there's Combust. There's a metalcore band called Heroes.
Okay.
There's a rock band that we're friends with, only siblings friends with, called The Illicit. They're very good. And then I think like one of the singer from that band, he has like a solo project called like Zeen, Zeen.
Yeah.
And it's like a solo project. Like I think he just released some stuff within the year. It's pretty good.
Okay, cool. So there's like definitely stuff happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Like not like a scene because of the venues, I'm sure.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Both Utmost and Only Sibling are try to have some like home shows, and like we're struggling just to find like local bands that like fit the bill, and we can't even find local bands really. So
yeah, that's always like a problem, and I guess in like little scenes, spread out. But I've definitely run into that. And it usually just happens in certain time periods. There'll be like a year or two where there's like a dull and like local bands. And then there'll be like a couple of years where it's like popping. There's like so much happening.
Yeah.
And like down again.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, like a few years ago, there was like so many bands, like obviously like D's Nuts is New York band, Staten Island band. But I think that's literally it. Like them and Vice.
Yeah.
And like we have like really big, like in Staten Island, like we had like a lot of like big local bands. But like now, like I guess again, like everybody's like growing up, moving on, and like not necessarily still into hardcore. Maybe they are. They just like, have other stuff going. It's not as important to them.
Yeah. This happens in
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely know what you mean. It's in just that weird period right now.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes back. But
yeah, for sure. But switching over to like Utmost specifically, and you all just put out a new split, 7-inch with Bore. For those interested, I recently did like a in-depth conversation about the songwriting on John's podcast, the Songwriter Speakeasy. So we won't get too in detail with that today. But if anyone's interested, definitely go check that out. So it was a cool episode. But like a couple of things grabbed my attention from that after listening. First, like I know drums is like your primary instrument. But like, how is it learning guitar recently and starting to write, these new Utmost riffs? Like for someone newer to guitar, the riffs sound pretty interesting. So like, how did you go about like learning and starting to write like that?
Yeah, I mean, like with drums, like I taught myself to play drums. And like I remember when I was like really young, I was like trying to convince my mom to get me a drum kit. And then she finally, I guess, caved in and got me a drum set. And like it was mad funny. I remember the first song that I learned was the Used song. And like the Used was like one of my favorite bands back then. But like, so I learned.
Those drums are pretty complicated.
Yeah, I think it was like sound effects and over dramatics was like the first song. Like I remember I was so hyped. I told my mom and dad to come into the room and was like, hey guys, listen to what I just learned. And I just start playing the drums. No, like any music behind it, just me playing.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. To me, I was like so hyped about it. And like, obviously, I mean, I'm sure my parents were like hyped about it, but I mean, but so like when I was younger, I learned drums, and like now it's like, I guess the same thing. Like it's just a new instrument. And I guess, all the bands that I listen to, I guess are like influenced me to figure out how to write or play guitar. So like, and like, I always wanted to play guitar or learn how to play guitar. And I guess the only reason why I started writing for Utmost was because we had a falling out with our old guitarist. And he was like he would like write a lot of songs. So like he would write, he was a good writer, a lot of heavy riffs and stuff like that. So like we got fucked with that. He left. So I was like, all right, well, we got to do something, and like we can't just sit here. So I just started writing, and like I guess it worked out. I wasn't expecting it to have okay songs, or So I mean, John obviously helped with a lot of that too. Like it's not all just me writing these songs.
Right.
Like he did help, and like it was we kind of helped each other out, and like we're still learning as far as like writing and like for the direction of like Utmost, and like we're still figuring it out. So
I wanted to ask because I know I mean, I think you and I probably started learning guitar around the same time. Because I got one or actually you probably started a little bit before. Mine was like towards the beginning of the year, but it's still pretty recent. But I know that it's like a little bit difficult in the beginning. Like I had like some experience just from like being a kid. I had like a cheap guitar. I was given for like a birthday gift. So like I knew like a few chords here and there. But I never knew, how to like write a song or like chord progression and stuff like that. And then another challenge I faced recently was like getting all the gear, because I know that's like a whole thing. It's like expensive, and like You just kind of have to do it to begin with, like at least have a guitar and an amp, to work with, and then all the pedals and wires and stuff. So it's a difficult instrument to get into. I guess like anything, like drums is also pretty expensive as well.
Yeah. I mean, it just, you spend a lot of money, but there's a lot of like reward to it at the end.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but with me, when I was learning, I would just like look up songs, like tabs of like songs that I wanted to sound similar to.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like what you were doing as well to learn?
I wasn't looking up tabs. Or I don't think I was. I mean, like, I would essentially, like, I knew how to play like power chords and like easy stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But a lot of the times it was just like figuring out, like using power chords and just figuring out like a riff and like, oh, this sounds like it could be cool. And then a lot of times, like, I would just fuck around and just literally hit random stuff and like see if it worked. And like, sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And then like, I would go on from there, and like I guess it just worked out very well.
Yeah.
And I think like when I did that, like not all the songs I wrote or ideas that I wrote were great. Or I guess like at the time I thought they were great, but like hearing them back, they weren't great. But yeah, I mean, like I now, like I love guitar. And like writing is like so much easier. And I guess that's just with any instrument that you do, like, you keep playing it, you keep sticking to it, and like, you'll get good slowly, but like, you just you put the time and effort into it, and like, you'll get better.
Yeah, for sure. Like another like challenge though that I encountered was like, I'm assuming you live in an apartment.
Yeah.
So did you like practice in your apartment? Because like I know I can't like put my amp too loud in here, or like
I mean, like
practice with no amp.
So what I would usually do is just like I would so one of my friends, he gave me a guitar because like I didn't necessarily, at the time I was just like, oh, I need a guitar, and like I don't know what guitar to go get, and he was like, I have like just this like shitty small guitar, and it had like an amp built into the guitar.
Oh, okay.
And like I remember changing the strings, and I changed the strings so bad, and they were like so tight, and like they would like, I would get huge calluses on my hands. But like that was a guitar that I learned on. And I mean, like I would just like play something maybe with the amp off, because I think like the amp broke like 2 days after I was using it. So like I would just I would just play, get an idea of like a riff, and then I'd be like, all right, whenever I can, if I like meet up with John, I could try to play this on an amp or something, just because like he has like studio gear and stuff. And so like a lot of that, like I would just figure it out. It's the same thing with like drums, like with loudness and like disturbing other people. Like there's like there's always like something to like, with drums, they're like these like practice pads that I invested in when COVID hit. I think right before when COVID hit, and it was just like, just because like I was trying, only sibling was trying to tour a lot, so I was like, I need to practice, and like more than once a week, and like I wanted to get good, so I would buy these like quiet practice pads, even like so like obviously it's not good for if you're not good at hearing what you're playing as far as like effects and stuff. Like when I learned how to play, I just like knew exactly what I wanted it to sound like. So I was like, all right, like throw fuzz or like tremolo on it, like, and it'll sound fine after. But right now it just sounds like a guitar, which is
that makes sense. So I would write as well without like an amp, but then sometimes I would just be like, I just like need to hear how this sounds like fully like alive. So during the day, because I work from home, so I'm just assuming like hopefully like everyone's like out like busy doing something. So it'll be like 1 p.m. and I'll like turn it on for like 5 minutes and then I'll turn it off. I'm like, okay, hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
I try to be considerate. I don't play like, you know, in the evening or anything, but but yeah, I mean, I know it's like a challenge a little bit, just like figuring out like, how is this actually going to sound like, you know, when you start practicing it with the band and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like with drums, like practicing with drums, like, and I did this in high school. Like I would, when I would go to school, I would listen to music when I go to school. And like, I would like pick a song throughout the day. I would just have it like in my head and I would just like be at class, just like tapping my feet and like trying to understand something, whatever it was, like a beat.
Yeah.
If it's something super hard, I would just like spend time going over it in my head. And on the way back home from school, I would listen to the same song or like something else. And like, it was just that every day. And then when I got home and I had my drum kit, I would try to play whatever it was. And then, I mean, it was just, a lot of it was like, all of it was like self-taught. I think I recently, like maybe 2-3 years ago, I decided to get like, or maybe 2 years ago, I decided to get like drum lessons from, I forget who it was, but he like, essentially he gave me more tips. And like, I started like, when I like first started playing drums, it was just like, I didn't learn the rudiments and everything. It was just more like how to keep a beat. And then like, I learned how to do like all my rudiments. And like, now I feel like I can actually play drums. And like, I think that's how it's going to be with like guitar too. Like, I'm just going to learn power chords and stuff. And then maybe in the future, I'll hit somebody up to help me get better. If I like guitar. I mean, I like guitar, but
that makes sense. It's funny too, because drums is my first instrument as well. So like we kind of have that foundation of like rhythm and like how you know a song needs to like keep up. But it's funny because Kyle, who is in Petty Thief, he actually sewed me his guitar. And he mentioned to me, like, when I first got it, like, you're probably going to like pick it up pretty easy because you play drums. Yeah. And I was like, really? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but like, and like after I played it, like I picked it up pretty easy and I was like kind of shocked at that. And like, he caught it and so I thought that was interesting. So I was assuming it's probably, you know, pretty similar for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Having that foundation.
Yeah. I think learning drums as your first instrument is like great. To just like get rhythm down, because everything has rhythm. So it's like, it's easier to learn something else.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I'm biased, but like, I would say it's the best instrument. It's like one is like the funnest. Like,
I mean, like I remember somebody saying it was like drums is like the easiest to learn, but the hardest like to master. I mean, like I definitely think that's true. And like I there was like a time where like I would always want to try to get better, and like recently I haven't been playing drums just because of like I broke my hand and then I had like a pinched nerve in my other hand. So like I haven't been doing any music stuff lately. Or at least trying to play music stuff. But like, I mean, like, I don't know. I just love drums and I can't wait to play shows again.
Yeah. It's super fun. And like everyone always needs a drummer as well. So you like become that person. But yeah, it's such a cool instrument. And I recommend that for anyone to learn, because it really does kind of set you up as far as like understanding music and like songwriting, I would say. Because looking back on it, like, you know, having a guitar now, I definitely see that, like how it helped. So yeah, shout out to drums.
Shout out to the drums.
But yeah, going back to Utmost, whenever I try to like describe you all to someone else, it seems like a pretty easy thing to do, but also like a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, the easy connections that I make are like locking out. So like mental, righteous jams, posse numbers type of music, or hardcore. However, I know there's like a lot more going on, because those examples don't, capture Utmost as a whole. But I know there's a lot more going on with influences, particularly. For example, you cited like a 90s surf rock band on, one of the songs on the split. But like what specific bands or like even outside influences would you say are most influential on Utmost?
Honestly, like anything and everything that I hear, like I would like with Utmost, man, I don't know. Cause I guess cause when we first started out, we were like a completely different band. And it was more like melodic hardcore, like counterparts we wanted to be like, and we just decided to go a different direction just cause it felt more natural and like nothing was being forced or anything like that. But other outside like influences other than like hardcore bands, I guess like a lot of like rock bands, and just like I'd say like a lot of bands like Rival Schools, how like because I just love like bands like that and like Shelter that are like have like hardcore members, but they would start a different band that's not hardcore. Right. But you could tell there's a lot of hardcore influence. And then like a lot of like pop bands, I guess, especially on like from John's side.
Right.
I wouldn't say pop bands, but just artists, more like mainstream stuff. And I think that's more so on a producing level. But yeah, I don't know. Like I've always been influenced by like The Used when I was younger. Like that was like all I listened to, and like I still love The Used.
Yeah.
And like right now, like one of my big ones is like Foo Fighters. And like I'm like trying to go through like all their albums. And like I guess what I like to do with bands that I love is like go through all their albums and like try to understand how they changed throughout the years, and like listen to every instrument as in every song, and like try to, I guess, just dive in more and like try to understand them. And like yeah, I mean, like I like a lot of different stuff. It's anything that because like I like, again, like I've listened to music and I've loved music since I was like a little kid. So like a lot of stuff I don't even, know, but like, I guess right now, like Foo Fighters and like just rock bands like that. Like Gigolo Ants. They're like this like rock band. It's so funny. And I guess this is more talking on like art stuff. Like I'm actually wearing the shirt right now. And so I found this shirt somewhere online and I loved the design. And I was like, whoa, that's an insane shirt design.
Yeah.
And I just checked them out from there, and I was like, wow, this is sick.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, a lot of just rock bands.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned John having that, like, I guess like maybe a different viewpoint versus like you and Maisie. You all seem to have like that traditional hardcore, background down, but John seems to have like a more broad perspective on music because, like you mentioned, he is a producer. So like for example, John, like I mentioned, like he recorded like a towel dispenser, like a paper towel dispenser, and like put it on the record, like things like
Yeah,
that are like insane.
he's a maniac, and I love that kid. I was just talking about him yesterday to my friend, and I was like, I'd take a bullet for that kid. Like any
Yeah, like he like how else has he like maybe pushed y'all to do things outside of the norm of traditional hardcore?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he would like push me in particular to do, and like a lot of times I would push back just because I was like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
But like, I guess more times than not, like it would work out, and like I would just kind of like ease off the pushing back, and like I mean, like I like so I met John when I was like really young, and like he was in like I don't even know what type of band it was, but like not a hardcore band.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more like I don't know, like clean metalcore, like clean post-hardcore type
Mm-hmm.
band. I don't know. And like I guess just liking so many different types of music, and meeting people in Staten Island. John was like one of those people. And then Alex Maisie is like on the other spectrum.
Yeah.
But like John, I don't know, John pushes us a lot with trying different things. And a lot of times it's so obscure.
Yeah.
But I think I love that. And like, I'll always ask him like, should I do this or that? Like, you know, so like he's very creative with so much and like with the writing process. And like, I just sometimes I get scared because I don't want to get too out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think we are. I think it's just me like overthinking it.
Mm-hmm.
But like he's like super creative with all that, and like, but I try to like reel us in and try to figure out a nice direction for Utmost to go on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess we just work out. We've worked together for so long. It's just starting to work out very well. And like, hopefully we make more okay music.
Yeah. I think it's good to have that sort of, push to be, because you find yourself in your comfort zone. You're like, okay, I'm in this genre. Like, I know what kind of music I want to make.
Yeah.
But, you have that push from John, and I'm sure, you all have that sort of push with each other, but John particularly having more of that outside influence seems good for y'all, because it kind of creates this unique sound that, that's why I mentioned, like, sometimes it's hard to describe y'all, because y'all have this like fun hardcore sound, but like there's a little bit, more like a little bit different than what's happening. And, I think a good comparison of like a contemporary band would be like Turnstile. Like, they have that kind of upbeat hardcore sound, but, in the most recent recordings, you can hear them starting to do stuff a lot more different. And that's exciting for me to hear. I'm sure others, but like, you can kind of see them carving out the future of hardcore, which definitely is what I'm like very excited for, because I want to see like what's next, because we've been stuck, or maybe not stuck, but just like, we've had this sound of like, we stick to, I mentioned a few times, like hardcore is traditional in a lot of senses, going back to its, foundation, and we've kind of stuck with this formula, which is fun. It's great. Like, everyone loves the music that comes out of it. But when bands start doing like other stuff, and pushing the genre, it's super exciting. And I can say that about everything, not just hardcore, but, movies, or like, TV and whatever it may be, whatever art form. But whenever we start pushing that creativity a little bit outside of the normal, a lot of exciting things can happen. And, we've seen that with, that those post-hardcore bands that you mentioned, like Shelter, Rival Schools, that started to happen. But now we're kind of seeing Turnstile do it, and kind of still sticking you know, with the genre and like the
Yeah.
people sticking to their foundation. And it's super cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a great way to put it all.
Yeah. So like I thought that they were a good comparison to Utmost because, you know, sonically y'all are a little bit similar, but, you know, of course different. But yeah, I'm all for pushing boundaries on most things, I would say. It's just
Hell
exciting
yeah.
to see what can happen.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, going from Utmost, you know, kind of shouting on the mic or on stage, how is it kind of switching over to kind of being behind a kit for Only Sibling? You know, they're pretty different, but they kind of sound like a nice balance from my perspective. But how would you describe it?
Well, I mean, so Utmost wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for like Only Sibling, because like when Only Sibling recorded our first EP, um, like vocally it was kind of everywhere, all over the place, and like we were still figuring out what we wanted to sound like. But we all in Only Sibling wanted to try to sing, and like we were just trying to figure that out. And so there's like one song on the EP that like I sang and like I wrote, and that was like the first song that I sang and wrote lyrically and like just singing. Yeah. So like that, like, I guess that like is what started. That was like the spark to a big fire that is now, I guess, Utmost. And like, you know, I would always like when OS would play, I would always try to like do backups and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But like now, like with Only Sibling, like we're kind of pulling back as far as like everybody singing and having like one person sing, which is like now AB, and he's great. Great singer, great songwriter. You know, he does a lot of design work for the band, and he's like the mastermind of Only Sibling. So like, yeah, I mean, Only Sibling is the only reason why Utmost is a thing. And so like, I don't know, like I've always wanted to be in a like sing for a hardcore band or
Right.
any band, and like Utmost, I want to like kind of do less screamy stuff and more like singy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that will work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I guess it's just like a whole different ball game with Utmost as far as, you know, Only Sibling. Like obviously, just because I'm not behind the kit and singing. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, again, Utmost would be nothing without Only Sibling, and like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's kind of sparked your interest to, you know, sing. I think that's
yeah,
cool, especially, you know, primarily playing drums in that band, but just having the ability to sing early on, um, you know, ultimately leading you to front a whole band. It's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. And like even with like like I guess like the what's it called, the design work behind Utmost too. Like that's
Yeah.
inspired just from like AB, like from Only Sibling. Like, you know, he would always come up with like great ideas as far as like artwork and stuff, and like I was always like inspired by that, and I always wanted to do that. And like
Yeah.
I had a lot of like art. I wouldn't say a lot of art background, but like art and music and skateboarding were all three things that I like loved when I grew up.
Right.
And like I went to Pratt Institute in Manhattan. I didn't finish, and that's actually like in like the new split with four. I wrote a song that's essentially
Yeah.
why I stopped going to college.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, I got very inspired by AB and just like obviously other artists. So like, it was like Utmost is like my baby as far as creating music and then creating the artwork behind it and having like this whole big, it's not just a band, it's like a whole big like project. And even like with
Right.
filming too.
Yeah.
And like I've always been super, super into like DIY and like wanting to do everything ourselves and like not necessarily having somebody else come in and like help us and like pay somebody else to do that when, we could just do that ourselves. And like Utmost, like we have John doing recording and like mixing and mastering and like he kills it and like, he's just getting better every day. And like I do a lot of like the artwork and stuff and like I try to do promoting and like tours, booking tours now. Like we're all trying to like figure it out as we go. And I think that's just the beauty of DIY anything, because like you just get good at it by just doing it. And like by like,
Absolutely.
I guess with as like it's a necessity and like you try to learn, like I never thought I would like try to like learn how to do music videos just because like I needed it. And like now it's fun, like just getting into like film, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's great about DIY. It just makes you, just by the necessity, it makes you get interested in something you never really thought you would, I guess, get into.
Yeah, I totally agree. That necessity leads you to so much opportunities because like, I played in a band in high school, played drums as well, but we needed, album art and like flyers for shows and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I can do this, I think. So I just, downloaded Photoshop, got it for free, and like started figuring that out. Yeah. And then I was still probably in 10th grade or so, I would say, in high school. And then, it was like approaching time later on to figure out what to do post high school. And then I figured out that graphic design was a thing through like playing in a band. And I was like, oh, you can do this like full time as your job. That sounds fun. So ultimately, that's what I ended up studying in college. And that's what I do today. But yeah, that's kind of like looking back on that and that DIY aspect of, being in bands, and it leads you to kind of like changes your life, I would say. Where you begin taking in all these skills and like applying it to whatever. And you may like pick up on this one special thing that's like, captures you the most, like design or art or, filming music videos and such. So like, yeah, super, super important, I would say. And I don't think that everyone doesn't get to experience that, if they're not or don't have like a creative hobby or don't play in a DIY band, for example. So yeah, I mean, DIY is important. And I would also say like creative hobbies are important as well. So I'd encourage anyone who maybe doesn't play in a band, just like, if you find interest in something, just do it. I know a lot of people, including myself, like if they're not like good the first time they do it, like they don't want to do it because, you kind of have that embarrassment of like, oh, I'm not good at this. I had that with skating recently.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
But like, I ended up picking up a board and just like started, learning.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's a kind of a good transition to go into skating. But how long has skating been in your life? Because for example, on the Split and on Big Dose, they all kind of have a theme of like skating or like wanting to escape, but that, I would say that seems like a natural response given the past year, being inside and such and like just wanting to like be free and go skating and have fun. not being able to play music, of course, has affected all of us. But like prior to that, how long has skating been in your life and how has it impacted you?
Well, skateboarding, like I've since like, I think like right before high school, and like, I think it was just, I would see like with hardcore bands and just any bands, like any rock band or just any type of like rock music, skating was always like hand in hand. And like, I always liked skating, and like, it's always been something that I did to, I guess, get away from the world. And like, I guess at the time I didn't even know it. And like, I would just go around, and like a lot of times when I was younger, like I didn't have like, many friends as far as like, cause like in high school, I'll say it again, I went to a Catholic high school. So like a lot of those kids I didn't really get along with and like find common interest, maybe like a few of them, but like, so like I would always venture out and like find people, and like I would always find like people in the music scene or people that just play music and like similar interests, and like same thing with skateboarding. When I was younger, like I would always just go skate, and like by chance I would just meet somebody also skating, and like, but like skateboarding has always been there. Maybe more recent, it's been like more, I've been more super more interested in, but when I was younger, I would just like always go skate. I remember I was in, there's like this one year summer, there was like one summer I had summer school. So after I would get out of summer school, I would meet up with my friend, and like we'd go skate, and like we'd go skate like some high school, always get kicked out, and like go to another spot, always get kicked out. And like, it was just like, I don't know, it was just so fun to just skate and then just get kicked out. When I was younger, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, I don't know. It just it made me feel, I guess, alive. I don't know.
That just kind of rebellious,
Yeah. And I mean, like, I like, obviously I took like a lot of interest in it. But it was more so just, I didn't know much about skating as far as like videos and stuff. I just saw people skate and I would skate. Mm-hmm. And like, I guess, so like when I was younger, I like snowboarded first. So like,
okay,
for some reason, I snowboarded first, and then like I started skating, and like I picked it up very easily, I guess, as far as like being able to stand on the board. And it's really funny because like when I skate, I'm goofy, but when I snowboard, I'm like regular. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, skateboarding has been there since music has been there.
Right.
Yeah.
And how was it, I guess, learning skating? Because I know that's always like a little bit of a challenge in the beginning. I started skating when I was like maybe 9 or so. And I taught myself like in front of my house, and I would skate the sidewalk and I would just fall over and over. Like, how is it for you?
Yeah. I mean, like when I was younger and I learned, I think it's great when the best time to learn to skate is when you're younger. Cause you're so fearless, and you have just like so much energy, and like, if you fall, you'll get back up and like keep doing what you're doing. And like, and like, I think so, like, mid 90s captured it perfectly. That movie was like the kid trying to learn how to just kickflip, and like, he's going crazy. Like that's literally like with any trick that I did when I was younger, like I would land something and I would freak out, and like,
that's a good scene to get a reference.
But yeah, I mean, again, just skating when you're younger, you're just like a whole different person. And like now you obviously think too much, and like, I think too much when I skate now, and like,
I don't want to get hurt.
I mean, like, and it's ironic because like, I don't want to get hurt, but I'm trying something. And then like, I broke my hand because I'm trying something. And it's so stupid.
And then it affects you for like way
Yeah.
more amount of time. You're gonna like notice now versus like being a kid, just like having little responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. Damn. Skateboarding is great.
Yeah. um, but are there any like certain aspects that you like love or dislike about skating? Like, for example, one of the ones that I learned, and something that I didn't notice myself, but I was watching when I get into stuff, I like deep dive. So like I was watching like a bunch of YouTube videos and like trying to like figure out the world a little bit better. And like I think I was watching a video of like Tony Hawk describing skating, and he was saying, um, I forgot the word that he used, but along the lines of like resilience or like, keeping on trying because you when you like see it on TV or like, on anything, it looks so easy. Like,
Yeah.
but like it takes forever to like land a trick. You have to keep on like trying and trying and trying and trying like over and over so many times. And I think that's the thing that I didn't realize when I was skating myself more recently. But, after seeing that, I was like, that's true. Like I was trying to learn how to ollie for like 4 months or so. And like I finally got it. And I was like, it feels amazing. Like after all the hard work, and you can see that applicable to like many other things in life.
Like, without
trying it over and over. So that's what I personally like love from it. But like what about you? Or like, is there anything that you hate about skating?
Well, I definitely agree with you on like that with skateboarding. Like it teaches you like, I guess, discipline. As far as like learning something and like, I guess not stopping and always trying it, even if like you fail. And like, that's definitely a big mindset for me to have that I had with like Utmost and like, just trying something, fucking up so bad, trying something again, kind of getting it better. Something else fucks up. And like, you just keep, you keep going and failing forward. But as far as like, I mean, there's like tons of other stuff that like, that I love about skateboarding, but as far as like anything that I hate about skateboarding, I don't really think so. I think I love everything about skateboarding. Like, I mean, like I'd say it's just random people. There's always, but like that's with anything. Like people, like, people are going to be cocky and like, like different and like, I don't know. But other than that, like I love skateboarding.
Yeah, for sure. I think, so like I mentioned, I would like skate when I was younger, but I never did it like all the time. Like it would just be like here and there type of thing. And I think the reason why is because what turned me off was like seeing like other kids skating or like at a skate park, and like they just didn't look like friendly to me. And I was more of like a shy like kid. So that was like what intimidated me from like wanting to do it more or like making friends, for example. But I know, like you mentioned, it's like random people, you just have to find like right crew, like with anything. But I know like skating particularly has always been like a very like male dominated sport. And I kind of saw it as like a rebellious, like jock type of culture. But however, like in more recent years, I think we've seen more diversity, and a lot of things, but also skating, which is very cool to see, and more inclusion. Like I learned about Unity skateboarding, which is like another like skate crew that I think they started in California. But yeah, I guess you kind of like experience that as well, like you mentioned, with like just seeing other people or kids. But have you learned of like any other queer skaters or like brands that people should be checking out as well?
As far as like queer skaters, unfortunately, I haven't branched off into that. And I guess that's my own fault not to, I guess. But like queer brands that are just very, that I really like are like the hat I'm wearing. It's called Lockwood 51, and it's just like a queer company. And like they have like the Honda rip, which is cool, and like other like random rips. Like I think they have like a suicidal tendency rip, and like stuff like that. But I remember I saw one queer skateboarder, and I forgot their name, but like they were ripping, and it was so cool to see not like a cis white skater. Right. So I knew I should have got the name of them, but yeah, I think just seeing more of that is great for like kids that are queer, and like I think it's great for them to see that more, and I think there should be more of that. And I think being from New York City, there's so many people that like you will find people like that. Yeah. And like, I think that's why I love New York City, just because like you can meet anybody. Yeah. Like you'd think that you met everybody, but then there's always like somebody else, and like, I don't know. And I think with people with like, even with like pride, I think pride's like a great thing to get people to like come out and be who they are. And then like, they're like in like tons of different, like in the music scene and in skateboarding, in like BMXing or anything, like, I think it's just good for like people to be more prideful about that. And I think that's like, when I grew up, I wasn't very like prideful on that. And like, now I'm trying to like, be more prideful and more loud, and more like, I guess colorful, as far as like, being queer and being like proud of who I am. And like, I think it goes back to a lot of people having that prideful demeanor or anything, just, yeah, I mean, again, it's probably my own fault that I haven't looked into it, just because, I guess I'm stupid, and like I should look more into that.
No, yeah, it just you come upon it like organically. I don't think anyone has to like seek it, but like I think it's cool. Like when it comes up, like I think I was just watching like a Vans like YouTube video, and they did like it was like a series on like queer skaters, and just the title alone like interested me. So I clicked it and learned about that skate crew. I had found some skaters from there, started following them on Instagram, just like keep up with like, it's always fun to like find like these very specific like niches of like, anything. So yeah, I started like following them, like just seeing them skate around was like super cool.
Yeah. I mean, like even like in like with bigger brand names, like in like Brian Anderson from Anti-Hero. Like, I think just having people be like prideful with who they are, like you'll just start seeing more people, I guess, popping up that are just like in like other like bigger brands or just anywhere. And like, I think it will get kids being more, I guess, prideful and more, I guess just prideful. And
for sure.
And I know there's another queer skater, I forgot who it was, and like I shared it on my story a while ago. He did an interview, and I thought it was really cool. Just like he was like I forget who it was, but it was just like very like relieving and more, and like I felt like I could relate to them more. Yeah. And like, it makes me feel good. Ultimately, it makes me want to be more, again, loud and like, all that stuff. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, I wasn't like super familiar, like I said, like with like the world of skating until like more recently, where I become more aware of like other brands, like outside of like what was in the Tony Hawk games. But it's been cool like to see like these smaller brands start to come up. And I feel like it might be just because I barely am introduced to it, but I feel like it's one of the more exciting times in skating right now, just because there's so much happening. And like you see like a lot more kids and like a lot more inclusion and diversity, like I was saying earlier. And I hope to see more of that because it's exciting.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, as far as like skate brands, skaters and everything, do you have any like favorite skaters or, you know, brands and videos?
I'd say like when I grew up, I liked all the obvious like brands like DC, Fallen, Zero, like, you know, and like all those films like Rise with the Fallen, or rather Ride the Sky. Yeah, right. And like the DC video, you know, those are always been the more mainstream filming videos for like bigger companies. And like as far as smaller stuff, like there's like so much like a lot of them I found on like Instagram. And a lot of them are from like other countries like Spain and like,
oh nice,
all those like filmers are like insane because like they use the VX.
Yeah.
And I think that's what inspired me the most to like use the VX for like filming skateboarding, and use the VX for filming like music videos or like small project stuff. And I think that's like so cool, the VX. And like Magenta, which is they're not from the United States. I forgot exactly where they're from. I think they're like Spain or something, but they're like, their the skate filming is so insane. And it's like VX1 and the like the huge fisheye and just being super close. And I love that, and being super like following them and like having them completely so close. I don't know. It's just their filming is great. And like, there's another filmer that's great. And again, they're from like a different country, and like it's all like VX stuff. And I just love VX stuff. But as far as like skateboarders, I'd say like Yudo from April. He just won.
I don't know them.
So the skateboard brand is called April.
Okay.
And the skater is called, his name is Yudo. He's from Japan. Nice. And he's the one that just won the Olympics.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I need to watch like at least the highlights from those, because I kept hearing about the Olympics. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. It's like, I've had so many conversations with like skateboarding being in the Olympics, and like a lot of people are not down with it. A lot of people are down with it.
Yeah.
But like, and like I watched it with like my friends. Yeah. And like, we were just like, yeah, this is cool that it's in the Olympics, but like all the stuff that they're doing is like, it's so like, I don't know. It's just so I was kind of unimpressed. Like I've seen like better stuff in like street videos. And I don't know. Like, I guess that's why I don't like when skateboarding becomes like a competition. Yeah. Just cause it's just, I don't know. Obviously that's going to happen with anything, any type of like, you know, like even with music, like with like Battle of the Bands and stuff, and like stuff like that. Like it always becomes a competitive sport. But like, I think skateboarding isn't a competitive sport. And I think it's just more of like an art form. Yeah. And, you know, you express yourself with skateboarding, whether it's like with actually skateboarding, with coming up with like designs for skateboarding, and like even filming and like photography and stuff like that. Like, right. But I'm rambling, but like, I guess like, so the, Yudo, he's a great skater. He's super young. I used to like Nyjah Houston, but like when he was younger, when he was like on Element, he was like, again, he was like, this kid was like super young, but like now he's like old and he's like cocky and like has like a really bad, a lot of people don't like him. And like,
Yeah.
he's just like a teenager who like, you know, has a lot of money, almost like Ryan Sheckler. Like I fucking hate Ryan Sheckler just because of his attitude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like
Take
a
bad
lot of it. Like,
attitudes.
yeah, a lot of it's like attitude driven. Like their skating's cool, but like,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other brands. I guess like me personally, I really like GX1000 has been cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of kids grabbing boards with with them, and like I think it's sick. And I think like even like having like smaller skate shops around, or skate shops, and like having those brands in those small skates shops are great. And like,
yeah, for sure.
I like a lot of other, so like a lot of brands I like for different reasons. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of them I like. There'll be like a certain brand that I like just their filming. Another brand that I just like their like branding.
right.
Like Butter Goods, Cash Only, Magenta. Like, you know, all of them are so cool, and I think I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of those stuff.
Yeah, it's funny too because like you mentioned, like music and skating go kind of hand in hand. But you have like all these brands in skating, or I guess it can be kind of similar to like record labels, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Have like, you know, all these bands or skaters under it, and then you see the whole branding and stuff. So yeah, it's like super like fun to get into.
Yeah,
and, like, watch everyone.
Yeah, even like Carpet. I think Carpet is like so cool.
Yeah,
it's like very DIY, and like they're very into like music and like even just hardcore. And I think that's like one of the top brands that all around all aspects I like admire so much, and I like take a lot of influence from that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for that Turnstile drop.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I looked at it yesterday and I was like, there's like a Turnstile hoodie.
Yeah.
The Carpet logo. Like,
yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah. Hopefully like I can grab something.
Their design work, both Turnstile and Carpet, is just like insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Carpet's another good one. I like this Quasi. I think is how you say it. But yeah, that brand is like, I mainly, I'm not like super familiar with like every skater on there, but what I'm most familiar with is their art, like the design on their decks, like so like interesting and like cool to see. I mean, it's just like a little bit more outside of the norm that I've experienced, and like as far as like art on skate decks, because it looks more like graphic design. And yeah, it's just like really cool. I like, it makes me want to like start like collecting boards just to have like the art. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, super exciting time in skateboarding, I would say. Yeah, are there any other creative but you know what, before I get to that, since we're like sticking with skating right now, what inspired you to start like your own skate brand? So I know this is pretty new still, but Good Street District was started. And I'm excited for you because I know, you know, it's something that you love and you're just doing it, and it's exciting to see from my perspective. But like, but yeah, like tell everyone a little bit more about Good Street and like what you are planning to do. Yeah. So, I mean, like Good Street, it's so funny. Like it started just because of COVID, and like, cause I got back into skateboarding because of COVID. And then like, I got really into, filming, and I filmed the Utmost video, and like, I got a VX, I got the VX 2000. And then I recently, like not recently, but like shortly after that, I got the VX1. And like, it was like, oh, I'm just going to get these cameras for like filming the music video. And then like,
I tried getting into like filming skateboarding, and like I guess I just really like doing it. And like it was weird because I was getting back into skateboarding, and so like I didn't know anybody. I only knew like my friends that like did skateboard. So I met a lot of different people, and that's essentially how like it just started. Like Good Street started as just like a crew. It was just me and like it started just me and like 3 other dudes, and now it's like we have like a bigger crew, just like us skating and like hanging out like every day after work and stuff like that. And then I came up with the idea to like, well, we came up with the idea to, it started with like one kid. He was like, oh, do you want to film me? Like do a video part for me, like a full video part. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like that'd be so sick. Like this is my first full length video part. And then it changed from that to, why don't we just like do a whole like full video part with like all 3 of the other kids? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then like, we were like, well, now we have a crew. Let's name the crew. And like, we named it. And like, now it's just like us doing clips on like Instagram. And like, we're still making a full length video with like the VX2 and the VX1. So like, it's just gradually evolving into something bigger. And like, I joke with them. I was like, you know, I want this to like, it seems like it's going very good, and I want it to like accidentally happen. So like, I want it to accidentally become a brand. But obviously, you know, that is the goal. And like, but I don't want to like make it like a super big, like super serious brand. It's just like, just for fun. Yeah. Just for fun. And like, you know, the whole point of like Good Street is just to get kids kind of leave the skate park. Like when you first start growing up and you start skating, everybody goes to like a skate park.
Right.
And that's great. And like, you know, you go there to learn all everything, because they already have everything there. But I think it's great to get out of the skate park and like skate street. And that's where like all the videos, like from like DC to like Fallen and all that stuff, it's everything's like essentially street. And I love that, just filming street clips. And I think that's how we got the name. We were like, yo, when are we going to get that like Good Street clip? Like, just meaning like that good. Yeah. And then it was just like, it's just stuck. And so we were just like, all right, well, we need like, should we have it as crew or district? I was like, it's going to be district. And like, yeah, like I met 3 other kids. And like, now they're like my best friends. And like, you know, we're trying to get this full length part out. And like, I don't know, hopefully, I don't know where it'll take us, but I you know, we're obviously going to get like some shirts designed up, and like, hopefully it becomes something bigger than it is. But if it like stops here, like, and it just goes up to like the video, I'm fine with that. Cause it's like, we're having so much fun, and like, you know, the crew is getting like bigger, and like, you know, I see a lot of people wanting to just come skate with us. And I think that's great, just to like, you know, get people coming out of the skate park and going street that aren't like that are like new at skateboarding. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully it gets bigger and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, we're talking about like art, the artfulness and skating, but particularly with street skating. I would say it's very artistic, because you are like looking for spots, and like you kind of like, I see it as comparable to film photography, or like photography in general. Like you kind of like learn how to see. So like you're like always like looking for spots, and then you'll find this, you're driving around and you're like, oh, this would be like cool to like skate at. And, you know, you stop and go and like figure out like what tricks you can do there. Like what can work. And like I've come across like obstacles, you know, with like cracks or like whatever.
it like it makes you think on like how to skate better. And like, I don't know. I love skating street as far as like park is great, but like, it just, it forces you to be creative with your skateboarding. And like, yeah, like with you said, we literally go around. We'll have days where we'll like have spot days,
Yeah.
we call it. And like, we'll just go literally drive around and find stuff. And like Staten Island, as far for like, obviously being part of New York City, it's like and again, being the forgotten borough, it's also the forgotten borough with like skateboarding, like a few, I think we have like, maybe 2 pros. But like, as far as like anything else, like we don't have many spots. There's just like the famous PS6, and like maybe like one other spot. But as far as spots, like I think we want to get kids to like go out and find your spot, find your own spot, find the ledge, and like rud brick it, lacquer it, and then boom, you have a ledge.
Yeah.
And like, even like just like a stair set, like if there's like a great stair set, hit that set, even if there's like a crack, like, you can fix that crack with like Bondo, and like essentially making your own skate park, I guess. I don't know. Like,
yeah, you're like designing your own space. And I think like, I find myself guilty of this sometimes too, but like working with what you have rather than going out and getting what everyone else has, or like, for example, with skating, like being from Staten Island or like any suburban area, like wanting to move to California, or, like LA, or like a popular spot that everyone already is at. But like, rather than like sticking, your home, working with what you have, I think ultimately creates like a more creative experience, more unique things happening, because you're like, repping your hometown, or like, hey, this is what's going on like over here, like highlighting your own area, which is like more exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think that's applicable to anything. Like I was saying, like working with what you have. You don't need to have like the best stuff. Like if someone doesn't have a VX, for example, for those who don't know, VX is like a popular Sony Handycam camcorder. It's very, very popular. I know everyone wants one. Sometimes it can be pricey to find on eBay and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, even like with like Instagram now, like, it's, new technology. Like, you can just film on your phone, and like a lot of people do that. And like, it's great.
Yeah.
But like the whole VX thing is just like bringing it back to like, that's how it was done back then.
Yeah.
With skateboarding and like getting sponsored and stuff. And like, I think now kids are they get spoiled with having phones.
Yeah.
And like the whole world in their hand. Like they could just, I don't know. I guess that's a different conversation to have. Like
I know what you're saying though. Like it creates like a more tactile experience, because you have like, you're holding like a whole camera versus just like, this. Like it is definitely a different experience. But like for anyone just starting off, I would just say like work with what you have, and then you'll get what you want like later on, like with anything.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. But like, I mean, the VX, I want one now. Like just like, not even just like film skate videos, but like just like to have and like film anything like happening in life. Cause like it looks like such like a fun camera to use. And,
I mean, like there's even like cheaper cameras, like VHS ones, like 8mm ones. And like, I've like the amount of times I've gone to like a thrift store and found the camera.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it'll be fucked up, but like I like had like 2, I found 2 like gold mines, and like one was like a mini DV camera. It's like, it was super small, and like it fit the mini DV tape. It wasn't as big, but like, then I found like another one, like an 8mm, and like, I think it's cool. I think the only thing that's hard about it is just transferring it to like your computer. But other than that, like it's great.
Yeah, I found like a cheap one on eBay. I always go out to thrift stores and I never find them, like at least in my area. But
Yeah.
like I found like a cheap camcorder that was like $20 or something, and it was like working and stuff. So I got that. I actually filmed Blair with that. But I'm excited to start using it for stuff like that, like
Yeah.
shooting shows even. Because I love seeing like old show videos like film on VHS.
Oh
So
yeah.
creating that experience now is exciting. You know, similar to like skating, like you mentioned, going back to what they used at that time.
Yeah.
Not even for like a nostalgic purpose, but like even just for like I mentioned, like tactileness, like getting the footage. You have a VHS tape, like now I need to like transfer it and like put it like on my computer and like editing. And, like that's just like all of that is like so fun to me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I back that.
Yeah. Um, but what creative things are you excited for that you have been working on? Like, is there anything like people can expect in the near future from any of the things that we talked about?
Um, yeah, Only Siblings. We're writing another full length. Um, Utmost. We're just writing new songs. Maybe have like an EP. Good Street is doing a full length video, and some like soft good stuff. Hopefully soon. Um, and like Utmost is also trying to do some small tours, like a
Yeah.
weekenders, a week long tour, and then Only Siblings trying to do the same thing, tour. Yeah, I mean
Nice.
that's about it. Yeah,
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't checked out the newest Only Sibling EP as well, like go listen to that. Super good. I think it's like some of y'all's best songs. They're like my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah. I think it is too. Yeah, it's definitely different, and I like that. Like
Yeah.
I just like when we do something technically a little bit different than before.
Yeah. So yeah, go listen to that. And I don't know if other people records still have any late, but if they do, go pick that up.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
But yeah, I guess to close it, what bands have you been listening to? What like art have you been watching or reading or anything that people should be checking out?
Um, a lot of band wise, there's so many bands, man. I guess I'll say like smaller bands. Uh, Bad Luck, Dog, Combust, Heroes. Um, so many bands that I listen to as far as like local bands, like,
Yeah.
and I like to like support all those local bands. Like obviously all the bands on Sunday Drive. Um, I like all the bands that I listen to are like just I try to listen to like are smaller bands, like even like on Pop Wig, and like just finding like small labels, like
Yeah.
you'll just find so many new bands, and that's
Yeah.
how I've been doing it, like on numerality too, like
Mm-hmm.
and like Dog Ear, like just like small labels, you know. Um, but and like art, I'd say like brands. I don't know, just like all the small skate spot brands that I mentioned before. Um, if you're in New Jersey area, hit up Travel Skate Shop. If you're in Staten Island, hit up Richmond Hood, and like the city. If you're in Manhattan, hit up Labor Skate Shop, and Uncle Funky's Skate Shop in Manhattan. Yeah.
Are there any like TV shows or movies that you have recommendations for? I need those too.
Oh man. Honestly, I haven't been watching many shows. I'm always
Yeah.
like I'm never home.
Yeah.
The only time I watch is like on the weekends with my boyfriend. We'll watch like Will and Grace. and just like that's
Yeah.
like we'll watch random movies. There's actually a really good movie. It's called The Empty Man. It's on Netflix. It's like a stupid horror movie, but it's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Books. I don't have time to read books. That's just me saying. I don't know how to read. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's about it.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know if I have any recommended. Oh, I watched White Lotus on. That was like a popular show that people were talking about on HBO. That was cool.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's fun to watch. I can't think of anything else. But I mean, I think it's good though that you're out, like staying busy outside.
Yeah, man.
Especially with skating and stuff. So
yeah, man, my feet hurt so bad.
Yeah,
all the time. And I'm not even like skating. I'm just like filming and
yeah. I know what you mean. Just I don't even like skate like super often, but when I do, and then come back home, I'm like, man, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think of any other music recommendations I have particularly. I think I sent you this, but Spaced.
I was listening to them. Yeah, they're cool.
Method of Doubt just put out a single, really good. Let's see. New Anxious is cool. Almighty Watching. New Quicksand album's good as well.
New Modern Color.
Yeah, New Modern Color just came out Friday.
Love those guys.
Wreckage, Connecticut Hardcore. Just put out a second demo. I'm just looking at my Apple Music right now, just seeing.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly. But yeah, I think those are the main things I've been listening to. I'm excited for the new One Step Closer album to be out.
That's gonna be pretty hype.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are all my recommendations. But
I think Soul Blind's coming out with something.
Oh yeah,
I've been sitting. They just have us anxiously waiting.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that too.
Got to tell Finn to hurry up there.
But yeah, similar to skating, like you mentioned, that's exciting time. I would say the same for music, especially this past year. I feel like a lot more like new bands started popping up, which is always exciting to see. So keep an eye out on like those labels that you mentioned. I would recommend for everyone to keep an eye out on them. Go skate.
Yeah, literally go skate.
Play drums, learn guitar.
Go play music. Go play music. Go write a book. Go draw. Go graffiti. Punch a cop in the face.
But yeah, it's been a cool conversation. This has been a more unique Sunday conversation, I would say, because we had the chance to talk about skating.
That's great.
Always fun. So nice talking with you, Alex, and everyone go check out everything that Alex mentioned. Good Street District on Instagram, Only Sibling NYC on Instagram, and Utmost underscore NYC
_crew. I think it is. I should know this. Oh man.
Just search up Utmost on Instagram and you'll come across it.
Utmost _crew, Good Street District, and then Only Sibling. Wow,
everyone go follow them. Alex is a super creative person. I'm excited to get the chance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
God bless.